I sympathize with them.
Viewers and listeners, like and share the show anywhere you are watching the program. If you have questions, put them in the feed. We will relay them live on air. A lot of data to present to you today. Data is good, and Keith Smith, 7 years into this, has mastered the presentation of said data. 6 years? Six? What's the number?
Yeah. We're about six and a little over six and let's call it six and a third.
Six and a third.
Six and a third. We're not quite at year number 7. We're getting there. I think it's May or something like that. We go into year number 7, but we've been sitting across from each other for over 6 years.
That's fantastic.
I'm sorry, did I say?
Sounds like that's how Judah feels.
Yeah, but he's got way more than 6 years under.
What do you think about that, Judah?
Judah.
It's a talk show. It's a talk show.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Hey, Judah, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Are we going to start off with like button downs or?
Oh, that was such a great show. I got such positive feedback from that.
100%.
People loved having us back in the saddle. That magnet seems to be the very unique way. It should perhaps be turned around over there. Ruben Morris, my friend, welcome to the broadcast. We love you, Ruben Morris. There we go, Keith Smith.
I am dyslexic.
We're very good, very good. I'm not sure that required reading, though. The glasses look sharp, my friend.
Thank you. They're brand new.
I'm giving you a compliment.
Thank you. This was my birthday gift to me. I picked up Warby Parker, by the way. It's the first time I've ever done it. A shout out. I've been happy with them so far.
Yeah. They do a great job. Like and share the show. We're going to have a good time.
They tried to sell me contacts, but we're not going.
What brand you got over there in glasses?
It's a Warby Parker. That's their own.
That's their in-house brand. That's fantastic.
It's their in-house brand, yeah, and I like them. I can actually see what I'm saying.
I can see what I'm saying. There we go. Judah Wickower, appreciated that right there. I'll highlight some of the viewers and listeners that are watching the program. Judah, we'll rock and roll here in T-minus 20 seconds. Kelly Jackson, Kevin Yancey, Sandra McDaniel, welcome to the broadcast. Holly Foster, we love when you watch the program. Catherine Lochner, Lisa Costello, Jason Howard, love when you watch the program. Maria Marshall Barnes, Wansar Miento, Jehu Martin, we love when you watch the program. Kevin Sullivan, we love when you watch the program. Andre Xavier, Jesse Rutherford, Ahmad Hawkins. Guys, you guys are bringing it. Multiple people are asking, when's the Wednesday political coffee with the candidates? We can talk about that. Judah Wickower, we can rock and roll when you are ready on the Friday edition of Real Talk with Keith Smith.
Quiet on the set.
I don't want to be.
Quiet on the set, Keith.
I'm sorry.
Quiet on the set.
I really like these new slides.
I think they're great. They're very easy to digest.
Yeah. Probably should have did this a long time ago.
Keith Smith has mastered AI.
Oh, God.
ChatGPT. Is this a ChatGPT product?
I love it.
Here we go.
The answer is... Oh.
Good Friday morning, my friends. My name is Jerry Miller, and thank you kindly for joining us on Real Talk with Keith Smith. It's an absolute pleasure to connect with you through the I Love CVille network on a show today that's presented by Yes Realty Partners and trusted advisors in this game we call life, like Interstate Service Company, a home's best friend. Amen. Interstate Service Company. Judah Wickower is behind the camera. If you want to kind of have a conversation on real estate in Charlottesville and Albemarle County and across Central Virginia, there's one source, the source of the source, in fact, and it's Real Talk with Keith Smith online at realtalkwithkeithsmith.com. Today, we're going to highlight data, 2024 recaps, and we're going to do some projections and predictions of what we can expect for 2025. Interest rates, the new reality, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to have a 7 handle in front of it.
Amen.
Just get used to it. The inventory is going to be limited. It's going to be crunched. The interest rate's going to have a 7 handle, and that's the reality of 2025. Judah Wickower, if you can go to the studio camera, and then a 2-shot, and welcome the star of our program, a distinguished.
So I just spent a gazillion hours working on all this data and these slides, and you just did it in about 30 seconds. That's pretty much
tight inventory.
It's
7% rates.
7% rates. But people still buying and selling, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting. The tempo's starting to pick up a little bit. But Judah, my apologies for talking over your intro. You think after 6 6 and a third years, I'd figure out to shut up while you're doing that. But, Smith shutting up is a usually difficult thing.
Well, we don't want you to shut up on a talk show.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, but there's points I'm supposed to shut up and points I'm not supposed to.
And you're the executive producer, and your name is on the marquee. You can do what you do what you want.
Yeah, what he said. So we'll kick the show off a little bit, buzz through a couple quick 4 slides and see what the feed is talking to us, and we'll just have a lot of fun and let the coffee kick in and the Ricolas I have.
Ricola.
And the cold medicine cough medicine that I'm taking. So between all those meds kicking in, we'll start kind of getting from first gear to second gear to third gear.
You're already in second gear and you're heading to third.
I'm in second gear, heading to third. Look at that stuff. So, Judah, we're going to start off with slide number 1, fine sir, if you do not mind. So this is car footprint. It's all data, right? And if those have been watching the shows in advance, I was putting these very complicated spreadsheets out. And there's this little thing called AI. You ever hear of it?
Artificial intelligence. A man's best friend. They say a dog's a man's best friend. Keith Smith, no shade on Forrest, the Smith dog, but artificial intelligence may be Keith Smith's best friend right now.
You know why? A guy with dyslexia and ADD, it freaking works out great. But look, it's a great tool, right? It's like anything, right? Any tool is a great tool. You can use it or abuse it, right? But, so I fed it all the data, and we started cleaning up some slides. So let's talk a little bit about this, right? So this is, the total active listings. So we have a new source. We've been talking about this for a while that I can access with it. So in the car Paragon world, I can't go back and look at exactly how many listings came on and pendings came on year over year, month over month, week over week. So there's some new programs that we have on it. So there was a total in the car footprint of 7,984. That is a 7.6% increase over 2024. So listings did increase in 2024. I know everybody thinks they're low, but the 2023 numbers were also low, right? So if you take a look at 2021, there was an increase by 18%, and versus 2017, there was a 50% decrease. So just to put it in perspective, in 2017, there was a total of 16,584 listings in a car footprint. 2024, there were 7,948. So, we got a long way to go, but we were up a little bit. When we forecast, I don't think folks are going to like what my forecast is going to be.
Okay.
Pending, that's slide number 2, Mike.
Slide 2, Judah Wickard. This is good data, very good data. Realtors are watching the program right here, Keith Smith.
Oh, thank you, Jerry Miller.
Realtors are watching the program here. The source.
When you call me Keith Bryan Smith.
Carly Wagner, hello.
Hey, Carly. Pending, 2024, there were 7,775.
Love you, Ray Cadell and Logan Wells Claylo.
Make a long story short, we were up 0.5% in 23. We were down in pendings in 2021 by 26%. In 2017, we were down by 19%. Dyslexia kicked in, reversed my 9 to a 6. And we're going to focus on the slot of number 4. Slide number 3, sold homes. Total number was 6,500. We were down 4.8% over 24, 9.7, up 4.8% over
This is
24.
an important one. Let's leave sold homes on screen for a while. This is how people make their money.
We were up. We had a total of 4.4 increase of over 2023. So we went up 4.8% of number of units sold.
Take a look at the screen, folks.
21 went down by 9.7%, and 17 roughly 19%.
Which is you're talking a significant decrease versus 2017.
Well,
1,500 closed transactions.
So before we were in our pre-production meeting, we still have them, right?
Keep that sold listing on screen, Judah. Yeah, we did that.
Yeah, I mean, the 17% of car realtors are not in the market?
Just over 15% of car realtors, I heard it from Michael Guthrie, did not renew their license with car.
And
just over 15%, folks.
A lot of it, is because of this, right? We've got an 18%, 19% decrease in the volume of units sold. All right. So I'm getting a lot of questions. What's the first time I've done this on Real Talk? Actually added numbers to what I think we're going to end 2025.
So here's his projections. Don't put it on screen yet. Set the stage of what we're going to see with this is the 2025 forecast slide, Judah. Don't put it on screen yet. It's this one right here, J-Dubs. You know that one.
That would be number 4.
Yes, slide.
Slide number 4.
Slide 4.
Big red on the bottom. Slide number 4.
There we go.
Hey, Judah. How you doing, man?
All right.
Judah's always doing well.
Yeah. You know I love you, man, and I appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
Just wanted to say that publicly. So I want to forecast a little bit. I was at a cocktail party over the weekend, a family cocktail party. And, in our line of work, everybody, I don't care where you go, people ask you, how's the market? What's going to go on? What's going to happen, right? And I was in a room full of different people, jobs like airline pilots. One guy was a mortician. Nobody's asking them, how's the mortician business going, right? So this is important what we do. The folks that put a realtor in their name, a real estate professional in their name, these are questions you get all the time. So I want to do something different that we've never done before, is actually add numbers, and maybe we'll see this time next year if
how close you are.
If Smith is even.
You're going to save them, right?
Well, they're out in the real world.
That's true.
They're out in. I posted them on Facebook, so
it's
they're
on
there.
the internet.
They're going to go. You ready to do this?
I'm ready.
All right, number 4.
Put it on screen, J-Dubs.
So this is car footprint, right? So I want to qualify this. Some of the jurisdictions, like we went over the numbers last year, last week, some are going to be a little high, some are going to be low. This is going to be what I think the average price value increase is going to be on the car footprint, and it's roughly 3.5%. So I think you're going to see about a 3.5% increase, maybe slightly a little bit more. This is average of all the jurisdictions. It'll be less than what it was last year, in 2024, right? We were around 6 or 7% on that end of it. Now, some jurisdictions are going to be higher or lower. Active listings, I'm actually projecting a decrease. It is a very slight decrease, somewhere around 0.25%, plus or minus. So it's going to be somewhere between 0.25% and 1% of actual less homes coming on the market, and we can pick it apart why. Pendings is going to be an increase. I think you're going to see somewhere around a 5 to 6% increase, and the number of homes being sold, similar scenario, somewhere around 5 to 6%. So value is going to go up somewhere around 3 to 4%. Active listings, I think, are going to stay flat or just up a somewhere around 1%. Pending is going to go up somewhere between 5 to 6%, and homes sold, again, somewhere around the 5 to 6%. I've never really put numbers to this, and we're going to hold on to this, and we'll see how close Smith is. Maybe we'll bet a bottle of bourbon.
Keep this data on screen, Judah. I'm going to ask some questions now.
That's kind of why I did this.
I'm going to ask some questions. Projected value increase 2025, 3.5%. Some homeowners would bristle on a 3.5% uptick.
Well, define bristle for me.
I mean, we've had fantastic appreciation.
So you think 3.5 is low?
3.5% is marginal.
Yeah.
Now, I want to highlight this. This is the entire car footprint.
100%.
This is Charlottesville, this is Albemarle, this is Fluvanna, this is Greene, this is Nelson, this is Louisa County. So, Albemarle County and the city of Charlottesville, where you see your most significant appreciation, are being pulled down here by some of the outer counties where you see less appreciation. For example, Albemarle County assessments in 2025, according to the Albemarle County assessor, he said assessments in 2025, on average, are going to go up 5.1% in Albemarle County.
Yeah.
5.1%. The Samuel Miller District.
And that makes sense.
Samuel Miller District, over 7%, the assessor said, in Albemarle County for 2025. Those tax bills coming up later this month. If you want to contest those bills, you could obviously reach out to Keith and Yona Smith of Yes Realty Partners.
And the folks who
I would very much encourage you not to contest those bills, ladies and gentlemen. But
well, what they'll do is we get these phone calls,
and you're going to say pump the brakes here.
Then
if they give you a second look, it's going to be higher.
No, what we're going to do is we're going to do our job and go, guys, I wouldn't contest this. Right. But Judah, is it too much to ask you to go back to last week's slides? Can you pick some of them out a little bit? If you do, find slide number 9. This is the consolidated one where it had each jurisdiction and what it did. Just to
First, why only the 3.5% uptick for the car footprint?
Because I think you're starting to see a leveling out on pricing. You're not seeing these. Here's my 2 cents for what it's worth. I think sellers have realized that the market's somewhat balanced out a little bit. You're not seeing a lot of these prices that were super high and all of a sudden get reduced. Sellers are starting to price out. But look, mortgage rates are going to be over 7%. Inventory is low, which is kind of contradicting it a little bit. You would think as inventory is low, it would increase the price. But I think overall, we're probably going to be somewhere between a 3 to 4%. I may be wrong, but that's also normal, Jerry. Like a 3 to 6% increase year over year is kind of what we've normally been doing. But to your point, last year, car footprint was 7.8%.
And the year before that was even more.
The year before that was even more.
And the year before that was even more.
Albemarle County was 6.3%.
Right.
Right. Charlottesville was 15. Fulvana was 2. Green.
You want it?
Excuse me, sir?
You ready for it?
Yeah, sure. Green was 4.7.
Set the stage of what's on screen for them.
Yeah, so what you're looking at is the numbers from last year, right, compared to 2023. These are the number of sales and the increase on the median price. Car footprint, the whole thing was 7.8%. I just think based on the inventory, what's going out there, what money is costing, right? This interest rate didn't drop. Everybody thought it was. It isn't. And I think you're going to see the balance of 2025 with a 30-year rate in the 6 to 7%. And depending on how the economy does, it may go a little higher than 7%. People are still going to buy. There's still going to be buyers and sellers. But the overall market, I think, is going to just kind of be a little flat in certain areas compared to 2024 or just a little bit above. The market will probably prove me wrong, but, almost 40 years of doing this, this is how this market is. Data is telling me and how it's feeling.
I want to offer a little color, a little commentary here.
My tan is fading.
He says a 3.5%. Go back to us on a 2-shot, and then we'll have slide 4 ready to go here in a matter of moments. Keith is predicting in 2025 for the car footprint, home values to increase
Full footprint.
Full
Over 2024. So this is important.
Yeah.
So it's adding on top of a 7.8% and 8%.
Yeah, 2025 versus 2024. He's predicting, ladies and gentlemen, that the car footprint, a 3.5% uptick for home values. Albemarle County and the city of Charlottesville may approach double that 3.5% uptick in 2025. In some pockets of Albemarle County and in some pockets of the city of Charlottesville, those values may even approach 10% or surpass the 10 points.
So in my famous 6 things, right? The first one is always location, right? Price, features, condition, timing, and who's on the other side matters. That's the 6 bullet points of a real estate market, right? Micro markets, I've been saying this for 2 years and it's been true. Micro markets are going to matter. You're going to have to dig into the data on a micro market. Certain subdivisions, we'll leave names off the table at the moment. Certain subdivisions will perform better than other subdivisions, right? And location is going to matter. The features are going to matter, right? The condition are going to matter, which is going to dictate the price on it. But I think overall, when you combine the 6 jurisdictions, I think it's going to be in that 3 to 4% increase. I may be wrong, but I think when you average everything out like that, we're going to do. But again,
you know what I think the key to 2025 real estate success is going to be? Either real estate movement and momentum or real estate stagnation for our area in 2025. It's whether or not the 2025 home buyer mentally accepts the fact that they're looking at a 7 handle for their mortgage rate.
I think that's happened already.
Has that happened?
I think it has. Otherwise, you would. Otherwise,
Has that happened?
Otherwise, the transactions we have transactions happening.
I know we do,
right?
But
And
this is what you're telling me. In
people-
2024, there was 6,500 transactions. In 2021, there were 7,200 transactions. And in 2017, there were 8,000 transactions. Only 2023 were there lower transactions in the slides that you put. And in 2023, there was a 7 handle for a large chunk of the year for the interest rate.
Yeah. So I want to just add, I just did some quick math. So this 3.5, 4%, maybe it's 5, but it's going to be somewhere in that 3 to 6% range. From car footprint from 2022 to 2024, there was a 14% increase. That's average. That's the full car footprint. So we're adding another 3 to 6% on top of 14%. So if you were buying in 2022, you've already average numbers, right? The micro market definitely makes a difference. Is 14%. I do not see an 8 to 10 to 12% increase in 2025 over 2024 numbers. I may be wrong, unless one thing happens.
The rates drop dramatically.
Rates drop dramatically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think that's going to happen. I think I may be wrong, but I don't see.
I mean, the forecasters now, and everybody's got an opinion.
And you know what they're like.
The forecasters frankly said in the first quarter of this year that the rates
kind of like my forecast.
The forecasters said in 2025, the first quarter of 2025, we're right in the middle of, said that rates were going to be in the 5s. And that has not been the case.
What did we talk about right after the election? You can go back and watch previous shows. Everybody was predicting interest rates are going to drop. It is not going to drop.
Stephanie Wells Rhodes, welcome to the program.
A lot has to
Tom
happen.
Powell, hello.
But
Lauren and Ivy, hello.
But fellow real estate agents, if you're watching this, the conversations we're having at the dinner room table.
Michael Guthrie, hello.
The conversations we're having at breakfast table, dinner table, the dining room tables, is less about interest rates at this point. It seems like folks are accepting that. More about my wear, my features, my condition, timing. Now, of course, it all plays into it, right? Because affordability matters, right? And affordability depends on which definition you use, but affordability in this context is if the mortgage rates are lower, then I can afford a more expensive house, right? But we're still at a third, Jerry. Third of the transactions
are cash.
Which is above the national average, by the way, in our region. The national average is somewhere around a quarter.
It speaks to the wealth of the region.
Wealth of the region. But if you go back and dig into...
I heard Michael Guthrie talking about this morning. Woody Fincham, I'm going to get to your comments here. Jesse Rutherford, I'll get to your comment here.
If you dig into the NAR generational report, right? It's just been released. It's always, I've been super critical of NAR and will continue to be critical of NAR.
Just don't see the value that NAR offers anymore. Maybe some value with the lobbying for NAR, maybe some value with the data that's offered by NAR. Outside of that, I see the value proposition of NAR diminishing dramatically.
Well, the value proposition is in the local associations, full stop, and that's where the value really is. But NAR does do a great job on its stats, right? 100%. How they continue to do that as MLSs start peeling away is yet to be determined. I'm not so sure they can maintain that ability to do that. But that's a topic for another day at this particular point. But the average age in 2024 of the first-time homebuyer was 38 years old. And if you take a hard look at that data, and I'm just going to break it down into something simple, the buyers in 2024 were older and wealthier. Man, I don't know where this is so hard for people to get into the market for young people without first bank of mom and dad or, being able to save up a ton of cash for down payments and, or have a extremely fortunate on a high-paying job on it. Young people under 38, this is a hard market to play in. And I think, and I'm just telling the realities of it. I think you're going to see 2025 still be a little bit more, older and wealthier. I think that 38 number in 2020, when we look at these numbers in 2026, it's probably going to go up a little bit.
I think it's definitely going to go up. Chris Fairchild, hello. It was good connecting with you, Chris Fairchild, in the middle of this week. Questions are coming in. This from Supervisor Jesse Rutherford.
Hey.
What's happening in Nelson County, Keith Smith? Woody Fincham says your data, your projections, your forecasting seems very reasonable. Bob Slentz, hello.
Well, I didn't want to.
Claylo, hello.
Yeah, I didn't want to get too over optimistic or under optimistic. I really believe that this is a conservative down the middle number. Jesse, just to review some numbers for you on Nelson County. We did them last Friday, and I don't know if Judah can pull
Judah can call them up.
Slide number 6 from last Friday. So Nelson County year-over-year comparison. Total numbers of years sold, 2024 was 266 versus 23 was up 6% versus 2016 was up 23%. So Jesse, you are selling versus 2016, 23% more homes in 24 than 16. Here's the number he's going to want to hear. And, as he's getting ready to run for office again, I think.
I'm a huge Jesse Rutherford fan. If you were here, I'd give you a flying chest bump and crack a full Nelson with you.
The median sales price year over year in Nelson County went up 11.6%. So to your point, when we start taking a look next year at different jurisdictions, some will outperform my projected number. So that 2023, you ended the number at 387 was the median sales price. This is all product types. 2024, you ended at 432. Trying to get used to these new progressive.
You're doing a great job.
Progressive glasses. That's a plus 11.6%. But brother, you are up 6% over 23 in sales. So you got 6% more sales in 23. You've got 23 more sales in 2016, you're up 11%. Hope that was helpful.
That was extremely helpful.
Let's see, I got even more information for Nelson County because I got little cheat cards here with more information.
Give him a little more information, then I got follow-up questions for you. I'm keeping the man on track over here.
Yeah, get the ADD going. No, that was all the information on my little cheat sheet. There you go, Jesse. You know all that needs to be known. Go out and get some votes, bro.
Jesse Rutherford's a good guy to vote for, Mr. Nelson County. Jesse Rutherford, your phone's blowing up over there, I see.
It is.
Yeah.
Geez, you wonder why?
I know it's blowing up over here.
It's Mrs. Smith yelling at me.
She does not yell at
No,
you.
no, God.
She's a saint.
Yeah, I'm gonna. She's been living with this.
Jason Howard on Rio Road.
March 3rd is Yona's birthday.
March 3rd. Happy early birthday, Yona Smith.
March 3rd, 40 years ago, was our first date. She's been with me, putting up with this for 40 years.
You know what? You guys make a fantastic team. You guys complement each other extremely well. I sincerely mean that.
We are so, I've been selling that for 40 years.
Jason Howard on Rio Road?
Married me 3 times.
Good job. I'm very happy for you, my friend.
My ADD kicked in.
You guys have renewed your vows.
3 times.
That's what he means by that. Yeah. Some folks may not understand what marrying you 3 times means.
Got it. A little
Some folks would,
Context,
What do you
Smith.
mean? Yeah,
Context, Smith. Yeah.
Jason Howard.
Squirrel.
With 1/3 of purchases being cash, Keith, are you seeing a plurality or majority of purchases in our area being retirees?
Yeah,
Aside from the obvious issues with business getting labor, how does a larger portion of the populace being retired or older affect the community? Damn good comment from Jason Howard.
So Jason, great question. So that is exactly what I mean by the buyer is getting older and wealthier, right? So right now, the buyers are. Again, that doesn't mean that there isn't young families doing that, and this is what we struggle to try to help young families to get into beginning to build their generational wealth, right? Because let's face it, most people build their generational wealth historically from home ownership. That's by far the number one way of generational wealth. But right now, I mean, just calling it like it is, the buyer in 2024 was a lot older, and a lot wealthier. So where cash makes a difference, particularly at these higher interest rates, right? And for those who are in the field, they can chime in. And we're starting to see greater down payments in offers. I got a couple of deals I'm doing in Richmond. Young families also, they were blessed to have a little bit of cash and doing some relocations work over there. But, they're putting 20, 30, 40% down, right? So, you're going to see a little bit more cash in. That kind of offsets this monthly payment nut. And most people buy by the monthly payment unless they've sold their house on Long Island, and got $1 million cash, and then it becomes a different scenario. But I see you're going to. No, I may be wrong, but you're going to see. I think this percentage of cash deals constant. I'll do a spreadsheet maybe for or on one of these fancy charts for next week to kind of take a look over the years how percentage of cash deals influence.
I mean, who it really impacts is frankly speaking, is the mortgage brokers.
Well, yeah. So the mortgage brokers,
transactions are cash and not finance.
Yeah, mortgage brokers are got a third less business.
Yeah. The realtor's still doing business in a cash transaction.
But it's compounded, Jerry. So not only is it a third less business. Hold on a second. I'll tell you. I'll get to this right slide here in a minute. It's a less third business, but it is 33. Hold on a second here. I'll get the right slide, Jerry. I'm going to let you. I don't want to give them the wrong.
I'll get to the comments that are coming in. Mr. Yancey, you're on deck. A comment on Chesapeake Street for Keith, which we will get to in a matter of moments.
Here we go. So on top of a third of sales, so somebody who's been in the real estate mortgage business since 2016, there's 15% less sales. So there's 15% less sales happening versus 2016, and there's a third of them that are cash. So, and that's part of the reason why you're at this 15+% of realtors
did not renew their license.
Yeah, it's not about the lawsuits or anything like that. It's about just the volume of sales.
Brandon Harrop, hello. I got an introduction coming your way, Brandon Harrop, for some new business for you.
All right.
Dave Warwick, hello. Thank you kindly for watching the program. Janice, hello. Thank you for watching the program. Like and share the show. Like and share the show. If you have questions, put it on the feed. I'll relay it live on air. Kevin Yancey, have you made it by Chesapeake Street yet? It's a very specific question.
It's a very specific question, and the answer, sir, is I'm going to apologize and say no. I came home and ended up with bronchitis and pneumonia and a hospital visit, and I'm just getting back onto my feet. So my apologies.
Nicholas Erpy, thank you for watching the program.
But thank you for the
watching
reminder.
The show.
I'll make a note.
You should offer some perspective on the 7 handle with the interest rate, and pretty much setting some expectations here.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to do today, right? I wanted, look, if you're in this line of work, by your very nature, you're an optimistic people, right? You got to be positive and optimistic, and I am positive and optimistic, and I'm going to start this comment with this statement, and I've said it before on the show. I have not been this excited about real estate in a very, very, very long time, because the unicorn years were not a healthy market. I was also back in the market when you couldn't give anything away. That wasn't a healthy market. But right now, this is, in my opinion, is starting to become a more healthy, normal market. I think you're going to start seeing normal rhythms happen, seasonal rhythms starting happen in 2025. But it takes a pro to navigate this with buyers and sellers. Back in the unicorn years,
turkeys could fly in the wind.
If you had a pulse, it had 4 walls and a roof and wasn't falling down, it sold. And not only did it sell, it sold it more than what it was being asked for. That, thank God, is gone. And right now, the people that are in the space are pros, and you've got to be able to be a pro. That being said, the The average since 1972 is 7.1% on the 30-year mortgage. Guess where we're at? We're pretty much right at the average. I think, and all the so-called experts think, people are just getting used to this 6 and 7% range. Now, if it starts getting closer to 8, will that make a difference? I don't know. It didn't in the past, right?
If it starts getting closer to 8, Keith, it's going to make a difference. The difference between what
It didn't when it was at 8%.
But Keith, we have to highlight this. When it was at 8% last time, when it was in the 12s and even the teens, when the boomers were buying.
No, I'm just talking about.
You didn't have a lion's share of homeowners with 2% and 3% rates. The golden handcuffs of people having 2 and 3% rates and unwilling to get off those rates is an anomaly in mortgage lending American history.
Got it.
That is what's the primary factor here. When you were buying your first house, there were not tens of millions of people with 2 and 3% mortgage rates.
100%. It is. There are 100% to deny that.
It's the number one driver.
I wouldn't say that. I really wouldn't say that. I think that is starting to change, right? We've got listings coming up that people have that 2%, 3%, but the old 5Ds. These things are happening, right? Mm-hmm. People are getting divorced, unfortunately. People are dying, unfortunately. People are having more children, fortunately, right? And they're having to move. Downsizing is happening. And they're just accepting the reality that I am going to sell this and go on. Now, keep in mind, if they've owned a house since...
They're sitting on significant equity.
That's the other half of that 2% equation.
But those folks that are sitting on significant equity are some of the folks that are coming in with 1/3 cash deals.
But the prices are still going up, right? So they're chasing...
Unless they downsize.
Well, even then, I've got clients that were downsizing. They're not that much cheaper on the buy side, right? It's square footage has always been this thing I've never been in favor of. I hate comparing cost per square foot for houses because the builder developer in me makes my hair stand up on my back, right? Because it's just in my opinion, a poor way to determine what the value is. You've got to figure the rest of the equation to get there. It's a good thing to look at, but don't establish square footage, cost of price per square foot, in my opinion, to go ahead and do that. But look, the reality of it is why I think prices are going to be stabilizing, increasing on it. So, because we're gaining a little bit. So if you bought a house 3, 4, 5 years ago, you do have enough equity built into that, and hopefully you made double payments, and you were able to drive your principal down a little bit. So you will be able to walk away with a little bit of cash and buy up. But 80-some-odd% of the sales last year, I don't have the report in front of me, was due to one of these 5Ds. It wasn't because of interest rates. So that's my 2 cents.
This question is a very specific one. I'm surprised that his projected increase for 2025 is only 3.5%. Which of the counties are pulling that down?
Oh, well, that's a great. We can go back to.
Chris Fairchild's watching the program. He's not going to hear this. Fluvanna County is probably the market leader in pulling it down right there. The appreciation that's happening in Fluvanna County is not keeping up with some of the other counties in Central Virginia. And I'll just cut to the chase right there.
Yeah. So how I came up with these numbers was creating a math formula based on what has been happening. And to your point, Fluvanna County was down last year versus 2023. Only went up 2.6%. Albemarle 6%. The Charlottesville was the winner at 15%, right? Greene County at 4%. So at the moment, Fluvanna County
is pulling down that number.
Yeah,
Albemarle County and the city of Charlottesville.
I don't see it going backwards, right? So I want to get this out for my friends in Fluvanna County. No, I don't think so because I've been watching the numbers pretty closely. But look at it to be flat, though.
Yeah.
A lot is going to, the big difference is going to happen here is in Fluvanna County. We haven't reassessed This is our reassessment year.
You got a number of things coming up in Fluvanna County.
100%.
You got water back in the news again. You should see some of the messages I'm getting from Flucos about what's happening with water. I'll happily read some of those if you want to talk about it.
Sure, I know.
But finish your thought, and I'll read the.
Yeah. So to the question, I think Fluvanna is going to be a light side. I don't think it's going to be green. But the ones that are going to have the lower numbers are going to be your Fluvanna, Greene, and Nelson County, which is kind of mirrored 2024. So, those, what you're probably going to end up seeing is those at lower percentages, and then some of the upper percentages, somewhere hitting, the model I created spit out 3.5%. I think you're going to be between 3 and 6 on an average in the car footprint.
I think the city of Charlottesville is going to have sensational appreciation,
so. Agreed.
And I think there's pockets of Albemarle County that are going to have excellent appreciation.
Yeah.
And those pockets in Albemarle County are going to be from where the city-county line starts on Ivy Road to the 240-250 split right before Crozet.
100%. It always has been. It always will be. That's always been the rock star of the area. Certain areas will go down. I don't see negative numbers coming up, but there could be a couple communities that do that.
This comment came in from Caitlin Person. First, she loves the commentary from the network and the I Love CVille show. Then she says, here's a topic that should be discussed. Fluvanna County is dealing with this aqua outage affecting entire Lake Monticello community.
It didn't affect the entire community.
But hey, on the plus side, the new alert system in place gave residents minutes of notice to rush to Soul grocery store in the vicinity to buy out every last drop of bottled water. I am sure grateful for that 28 minutes of heads up at 3:32 p.m. while I was in town finishing my workday before it was cut off for the night. Think about having to deal with going to the bathroom when the water was cut off. Thanks, Aqua. Go Aqua.
Yeah, so talked to my daughter in Richmond, didn't have water for 3 days. To be factual, it did not cut out all of Lake Monticello. I live at Lake Monticello, I had water. So it was certain sections of it. They called it a system-wide shutdown, but there were certain sections of it that they were able to valve off and pull directly off the tanks to go ahead and do that. Look, the system is I know a little bit about this.
You know it better than pretty much anybody.
Yeah. Here's the problem with Lake Monticello. The conveyance system, I'm not talking about the treatment plant or the water tanks or anything like that. The pipes in the ground have been in the ground since 68, 69. And I'll tell a little story about that. I developed the acres. And
you live in the acres.
I do, yeah. And the lake at that time it was owned by Lake Monticello. They called it the Lake Monticello Service Company. That was before it all got sold out. Made us build at the time it was in the mid '90s, a $450,000 at mid-90s dollars, a $450,000 pump station to pressurize stuff. And I remember when I was negotiating with them, I said, look, I'll do this, but I want the contract to replace all the lines, because when you pressurize, particularly the stuff that's over by Food Lion and Section 11 that has like 8 pounds of pressure, when you pressurize lines that have been in the ground for decades, I want the contract to make all the repairs. So if they pressurize that system, God forbid what's going to happen. So that $450,000 pump station sat there and never been used. Whole different argument. But there's a long story behind Aqua Virginia. It started with Lake Monticello not doing what it was supposed to do. And we're paying for it right now. That's for sure.
Jason Howard, you mentioned water with what just happened in Richmond. With what just went on in Richmond being out for close to a week, should our local jurisdictions be looking at conditions of our facilities? How common is what happened there in older systems? You kind of touched on this.
I did. The short answer to that is yes, but that's VGH's job.
Right.
Virginia Department of Health's job. They're supposed to do that. And, this whole thing in Richmond, I know a little bit about it because I know some of the development guys in Richmond. What ultimately happened was the pumps that were supplying coming out of the reservoir basically failed. I know this pump station I just talked about, right? I had to install 3 redundant systems in it. I don't understand why there was not redundant systems. There's going to have to be some investigations. I'm sure that's what they're doing in it. But VDH is responsible for that. They're the ones that are supposed to be inspecting these things and getting them to fixed up.
This comment, Keith, Lake Monticello, you just brought up. We're approaching 25, 30 active listings at the lake. That number is upticking. What's going on?
Yeah, so it's getting somewhat back to normal, right? So just to put it in perspective, there are 4,400 homes at Lake Monticello. So 23 or 44, 40 is a pretty low. It's like half of a percentage point.
I think people got accustomed to the single-digit active listings during the pandemic.
Yeah, 100%. So, I've been living there since '87, been building there since
Less than
87.
1% of the community is active, ladies and gentlemen.
It's about 0.5%, right?
Yeah.
About 0.5%. So I remember, when there was 10, 20, 30% of the homes on the market. That being said, take a look at what the median sales price is in Fluvanna County. The median sales price, hold on a second, I got a slide from last. The median sales price in Fluvanna County went up 2.6%, but it's $361,000. Well, who's the buyer of a $361,000?
First-time home buyer.
And what are they paying for mortgage rates?
Olivia Branch, welcome to the broadcast. Keith Smith is basically saying with increased interest rates and Fluvanna County having a lot of first-time home buyer stock, the headwinds are very real for Fluvanna County's resale market.
It is. So this is why I think you're going to see Fluvanna County stabilize a little bit in price, stabilize a little bit in volume, right? It's because it's at this price point. Now, if interest rates drop down to 5,
interest rates are not going to drop down to 5. Joe Reed of Alcova Mortgage, welcome to the broadcast.
That number is just...
Joe Reed, you should come on the program to talk about your book of business here at Alcova. Yeah. Sarah Hill Buchensky, welcome to the show. Carrie Rock, welcome to the program.
Yeah, so just compare that. Hold on one second. The median sales price in the car footprint in 2024 was $485. It's over $100,000 below. It's at $361, right? So if you take a look at, Greene County was at $405. Nelson County, this is 24 numbers, was $432. Albemarle County, hold on a second, I got one here for Albemarle County. Hang on a second. I'll get it here in a second. I got too many slides here. I thought this was supposed to get easier.
You got a lot of paper in front of you.
I do. I wish I knew how to keep track of all of it. Anyway, I'm going to have to find out. I got too many slides in front of me at this point. Hold on a second here. Albemarle County, sorry, was 542 in 2024. So it's that price point. It's that price point that, they don't have 20%. They don't have 30% cash to put down. You're at 7% now. It's just a hard first-time home buyer market.
Questions coming in. This one is for Keith Smith. Jerry, you have been talking on the I Love CVille show about the softening of multifamily. You also let us know that you have the Executive Vice President of Development for Subtext coming on the show. Can you ask Keith about multifamily and his thoughts?
Well, if you've been watching the show for the last year, I've been predicting this, right? We as a nation have overbuilt multifamily.
Multifamily, ladies and gentlemen,
apartments, condos,
yeah,
but mostly apartments.
Yeah.
And
we're talking rental, ladies and gentlemen.
They've been overbuilt. We need more rentals here, 100%. The problem is unless you've got cash, you're borrowing money, right, from firms, from banks, from lending institutions that have put a spigot on lending, shut off the spigot, money from multifamily projects. And I know this because of the affordable housing world that I'm in. Trying to get money to do that is extremely difficult now. You have to use LIHTC and all these fancy tax credit programs. But unless you've got cash to do that and you want to build something in today's market, I'm just talking the financing world of it, forget about the years it takes to get it zoned and approved. Money is super tight because we've overbuilt it. Look, one thing I've learned from 40 years of doing this business, we tend to seesaw or swing in the housing space, particularly in the new construction. So what happened was during COVID, everybody said, build multifamily. And they went out and started building multifamilies. And you're now starting to see multifamilies being overbuilt nationally. And I've been talking about this for a year.
You have been.
And not only have I been talking about it a year, I have people tell me I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. And guess what's happening?
You called it.
It's starting to slow down.
Mark your calendar for Wednesday at 12:30. Mitch Corte, Executive Vice President of Development for Subtext, is on the I Love CVille show to talk about a massive project on Stadium Road in the city of Charlottesville, 729,000 square feet of development, more than 1,300 beds, a 12-story project with nearly 500 apartments. Construction is starting.
Yeah, so here's the deal on that. So to be clear, they're either using a ton of cash, and we'll find out on Wednesday. I'll make sure I'll watch that show.
Joint venture equity partner Kane Anderson Real Estate.
Or all the funding was secured long before a shovel was put into the ground, right? So that's usually how that works. Usually before you start putting a shovel in the ground, you've got your funding secured, you got your funding put together, it's in place, it's moving. Very rarely will it get taken away from you. Because of market conditions. It has happened in the past. I'm living proof of that. I don't I don't see that project stopping. I'm talking about stuff coming down the future, down into the pipeline.
Oh, there's ladies and gentlemen, there's significant multifamily development approved in Charlottesville and Albemarle County that is at an absolute standstill right now. They have the approvals in hand, and it's at a standstill.
Yeah, so
Scott Beyer, welcome to the show.
Well, I don't want to say anything right now because I need to talk to some folks on a couple other multifamily projects. But at the moment, there's a couple of multifamily projects in the ground right now that I think are struggling on filling spaces.
I mean, you look at.
I need to make phone calls to make sure that it's
Dude,
okay.
I follow this closely as someone with rentals. There's an abundance of multifamily available for rent right now.
Yeah, single-family detached rentals or townhome rentals are performing well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm talking apartments.
I want to be clear.
I'm talking apartments
are performing well.
Yeah,
right, and performing above what they, the market, frankly.
I mean, frankly, the housing advocates are pushing housing of any kind. The reality is the housing that is needed in this community is single-family detached homes. That's what the marketplace wants, is single-family detached homes.
And townhomes. Townhomes will move. But yeah, well, you're 100% right. So I'm an ownership advocate, right? I'm always will be and always have been because of what we started early in the show, that's how people build equity, long-term, sustainable, generational wealth and equity. It is and always has been, and I think will continue to be housing. Is it harder than hell, harder than it's ever been to get into the market? Absolutely. This is kind of why you need pros on your side and trusted advisors on your side to go ahead and folks that are committed to this at a high professional level to help you navigate what's before you. That said, rentals have their place, but so what are we saying? We're saying we're going to build a rental so that people will stay in rentals their whole lives, and what kind of future is that going to give them on the back end? So I've always felt rentals were a short term into ownership. I'm a ownership advocate, and I make my living from buying and selling homes. So I'd freely admit that. I also volunteer a ton of time to help people get into that.
Dude, you do. Come on, you do a significant work. The man's not just talking the talk; he's walking the walk.
But I think if you can get a source a trusted source, because I don't have that, a trusted source that can track the occupancy rates of multifamily units here,
That's available.
but it's on everyone. There are multiple different sources. I don't know enough about it to talk
I mean,
intelligently.
you can use some. Yeah, go ahead.
But I'll bet you if you do and you figure that out, you'll find the occupancy rates are not, and the re-rental rates are not as high as they used to be. Rents are coming down.
Well, not necessarily. Depend on where you're trying to rent.
I'm talking multifamily.
Even multifamily, depending on where you're trying to rent, I'm not sure they're coming down.
Okay.
Where are you seeing them coming down?
Well, again, I don't track all that heavily. I track.
Yeah.
You might track it way more than I do. But some of the, again, I got to keep my mouth shut because there's a couple of projects outside the city that I got some privy information to that I just need to make sure it's okay for me to talk about. So I want to put a pin in that.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Totally. I totally respect that. Bill McChesney highlights that they're pouring concrete across from K-Tech on Rio Road at Rio Point.
Yeah.
And he also says to Keith Smith's point, Orange County has had water difficulties in the very recent past. Mr. McChesney, the mayor of McIntyre, we appreciate your comments per usual.
Yeah, the recent shutdown in Richmond and what's happened at Lake Monticello, hopefully VDH is starting to get a little bit tighter with, hey, these inspections and, what we can do because, I just came from an island that sometimes you had water and sometimes you didn't have water. It was just accepted way of life. I don't think that's the way it's supposed to be here.
I don't think that's supposed to be. Water's a utility. NBC 29, Daily Progress, and CBS 19 all are highlighting the fact that Albemarle County's tax base is increasing by 5.1% in 2025, 5.1% with the 2025 property reassessments. Those bills will be coming out to Albemarle Countyans at the end of this month, so brace yourself. It's going to be a sticker shock for some.
Well,
4% in 2024, 13% in 2023. I'll highlight those numbers again. Albemarle County reassessments, 13% uptick in 2023, 4% in 2024, 5.1% in 2025. Those are on average. Town of Scottsville had the highest average annual reassessment change, a 6.1% increase, ladies and gentlemen.
And that jives with the numbers I talked about last week, that the Albemarle County, the median, is 6.13%. So because they're supposed to look back at 2024 to determine what 2025's tax value is. So it should be pretty much across the board, somewhere in that 5 to 6% range on average.
Keith Smith's on fire today.
Oh my God.
Hour flies by when you're having fun, my friend.
Look at that. Wednesday show, I'm working on something to put it together, trying to get some sponsors put together. Still talking to elected officials. I want to make sure that I've got
a bunch of them watching today. I would imagine it was because some of the stuff that you put on.
I want to make sure that I've got all 17 on board to come in because it'll be awfully boring to spread that out over Wednesdays. But the goal is we're calling it Local Voices and Local Choices.
Love it.
And we're going to be
voices and local choices. That's got a great ring to it.
Just like that, I did not use AI.
That was fantastic.
I created that myself. Look, we just went through this whole conversation talking about real estate is local, right? So is politics. All politics is local. It impacts land use is important. So at the local political level, that's where decisions are made that really impact our lives. Not so much in Washington. Richmond does impact our lives because we're a Dillon rule state. But we're going to bring in local elected officials. Hopefully, folks will be running against them, so we'll be able to have some back and forth between folks that are running. But I'm working on putting that together, and hopefully February, March, we'll kick off with our show. Stay tuned.
Keith Smith, Real Talk with Keith Smith, online at realtalkwithkeithsmith.com. Click the partners tabs for the trusted advisors in this game we call real estate. Real Talk with Keith Smith. Click the partners tab. These are the folks personally vetted by Keith Smith, who's been in the game since 1988. The businesses you can trust.
87.
87. I thought it was 88.
87.
You sure about that?
100%. Built my first house in 88. Moved into my first house in 88.
Then what'd you do in 87?
I was building a house. My personal house I built myself was in 88. We started building houses in 87.
1987. So Keith Smith is 38 years in real estate.
1987. We were building and selling
38.
houses. Now it was only a couple, right?
No, that counts. That 100% counts.
But yeah,
100% counts.
1987. We were. I should bring some pictures of.
I would love to see Keith Smith in 1987.
Yeah.
Weekend plans, Keith Smith. You want to highlight a listing?
Yeah, so that we just put a new listing over in Glenmore. So go ahead and Google and take a look at it. My phone's been blowing up. I think we priced it right. I'll kind of leave it at that at this point. I didn't talk to the seller. It'd be okay for me to talk about it today. So it just went live this morning. So, but I want to confirm with him before I do that.
Well, it's active.
Yeah, I know it's active, but
so we'll leave it at that. Check it out. Check out the MLS.
Check it out. It's a great listing. Great community. We are babysitting this weekend.
Oh, very nice.
We are fully certified, by the way. So anytime you ever want to drop off two little kids and you and your wife want to go on it, we're pretty good at babysitting. Can't speak to how much sugar they might have before you get back, but yeah. So we're babysitting. So Yvonne and Houston they're doing some comedy club thing. So
cool.
We are watching little baby Ravenna. I'm looking forward to it.
Keith, Judah Wickower behind the camera. Judah Wickower, props to you. Thank you kindly. Archived on realtalkwithkeithsmith.com or wherever you get your podcasting content. The I Love CVille show, guys, is up at 12:30. Thank you for watching. So long, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Keith Smith.
Thank you, Jerry, for keeping me on.